and Dale Earnhardt, the old rivals, who slugged it out during the mid portion of the race, and it looked like they were going to take each other out. Eventually, they both had problems, and that was what opened the door here for old Rusty. Nice opportunity for this young man. Nice opportunity for us to hear from him. Let's go to Jerry Garrett.
Well, Rusty is wiping off the grime of 119 laps of racing around this course. Getting ready to get out of the car, get a word with him here. Being congratulated by his crew. He's receiving the congratulations of the crowd. Okay, let's move in here. Rusty, seems like you're the champion of NASCAR's road racing circuit this year, hands down.
Well, I don't know. The guy's done a great job preparing this car, the Kodiak Pontiac. I mean, it just runs flawlessly. You know, I can't say enough about the whole crew, but we got a good road racing car, and those guys did a good job, and I just try to keep the thing out of trouble. They teach me a lot.
It seemed like that flamboyant style of yours on these road courses was going to burn up your tires there at the end. Did you have any concern about tires?
Nah, people got different opinions about Riverside. Some like to take it easy, some like to drive it hard. I like to drive it hard and just keep the wheels behind me and keep it digging.
You were driving around people all day that were driving real hard. Jeff Bodine and Dale Earnhardt, and they both had problems. Did you come to a conclusion whether you could handle them if it came down to the battle between them?
Well, the last caution, Jeff's been dominant all throughout the day. And the last caution flag there, I got tires and took off, and I said, Barry, I think I'm catching him. Man, I kept running him down and catch him through turn 9, and then all of a sudden, I told him, I said, I'm catching him, and all of a sudden he ran off the racetrack, and I guess he was getting ready to pit, so it turned out good for him. I think I was getting him at the end there.
Introduce this lovely lady here in Victory Circle with you.
My wife, Patty. Seems like every time I bring her, she wins.
Patty, did your husband tell you anything about what his expectation was today in the race?
He just said that he thought the car was running real good, and they were expecting him a good day.
Did you think you were going to win it beforehand?
Yeah, I was hoping. You know, this was a lot harder than Watkins Glen was. We had our car a little more prepared, and I had to drive a lot harder today than I did at the Glen.
Well, paid off once again for you. Congratulations, Rusty.
Pontiac.
We'll meet the man who came in second today, one of the legends of American stock car racing, Benny Parsons, in just a moment here in our live coverage from the Riverside International Raceway in California, where Rusty Wallace has done it. He's beaten the very best in Winston Cup racing. Interesting today in this Winston Western 500 is Benny Parsons, who finished in second spot, and Benny Parsons is standing by right now with Pat Patterson.
Well, Benny is here, and you look pretty good. You ran an awfully hard race out there.
It was tough. You know, every time I looked in my mirror, there was somebody gaining on me. You know, it just isn't fair. I couldn't gain that much on Wallace, and yet every time I looked in the mirror, Kyle Petty was getting on me, and I said, "Come on, Kyle, leave me alone. Let me go up here and see if I can get to Rusty." I couldn't, but you know, second, it's a lot better than third.
The observation up in the tower was that you and Kyle were racing awfully hard, and that might have slowed you down to try to catch Rusty.
Well, you know, I think we were running a little bit slower than we could have if we had been by ourselves, but not much. Rusty, for about 10 or 15 laps after the caution flag, I felt like I could beat him because I'd gain on him a little coming into 9 or coming off 9 and other places on the racetrack. But with about 10 laps to go, he started just a foot at a time pulling away, and I said, you know, I don't think I'm going to catch him.
That was a good run today, a good show for the folks.
Thanks, Pat.
Benny Parsons, second place here today. Kyle Petty third, Richard Petty fourth. What a story there between those two as Kyle continues to hold his place in the point standings. In the 8th position, his father is in 7th as they get down to Atlanta to decide it all in the final standings this year. Rusty Wallace now has won 2 road course victories to his credit, and he has taken 2 short track wins as well. He finished last in June, very dead last in this race. Hey, let's get a word right now with those 2 folks that did so well in 3rd and 4th today. Here's Pat Patterson.
Well, they're having a bit of a discussion here. I guess I better respect my elders and go over here first. Richard, good run for you this afternoon. Looks like the boy there got ahead of you a little bit.
Yeah, he's run better than we did all day long, running in front of us. We got started off sort of bad when we had a couple of tires, cut a couple of tires down, kept getting behind, and then, you know, there at last we got lucky and had a good set of tires, and everything worked good, and we was able to get back up to 4th or 5th, wherever. So it was just a deal that if we'd run up front all day, we could have finished a little bit further up front.
Well, let's get a word with the son here. Kyle, you had an awfully good run this afternoon. You and Benny Parsons were really mixing it up there to try to finish second. Your observations?
Well, we run pretty much the race that we wanted to. The first part of the race, when they caught me, I just let them go by me because we hadn't finished the race out here in the last 2 or 3 times. And we're trying to finish and catch him in points and catch 2 or 3 other guys in points. So we just run the race we wanted to. And at the end, from halfway on, we run real hard. I need to checked Benny's birth certificate. I think he's about 26, and I don't believe he's as old as he says he is the way he drove today.
There was so much debris on the racetrack, so many things that you had to watch out for out there. Was there any one particular thing that really got you off today?
No, not really. You know, the racetrack's always dirty. You know, there was some wild stuff that went on, like when the 04 blew and they pushed him around the racetrack and put oil all over the racetrack after he blowed up. You know, that kind of messed up the racetrack. The stay dry did as much as anything, but as a whole, the crew on the racetrack kept the racetrack really clean. It's been twice as dirty before. It was a good racetrack today.
Good run today, Kyle.
Thank you.
One of the people sorely missed here today, of course, Neil Bonnet, resting back in Bessemer, Alabama after his crash at Charlotte that broke his right leg. We had an opportunity to talk to him on the phone a little earlier this afternoon, and he says, I want to thank every race fan that has sent me cards and letters. He was just overwhelmed with the amount of emotional response by so many people who care so very much about these race drivers. And if you haven't dropped him a line, by all means, he's in Bessemer, Alabama, and the postman down there knows him pretty well. So if you haven't done it and you care to, he's on the mend for some time. Really enjoyed this race today, he said, and so Wallace just plain had him covered from what he saw on television. We'll be back with a final word in a moment.
Western 500 goes to Jeff Bodine, who should have won this race, had a bad break. His car owner, Rick Hendrick, was the rookie sensation of the day. Did you have any fun out there driving your own race car?
Had a lot of fun. I had more flat tires. I knew where all the nails were, I guess. I had 3 of those deals.
Benny saved the day for you, got your second spot. Are you going to go back out and do this again now?
Well, I don't know. We had a lot of fun, and had a lot of fun here with Schrader and Benny early in the week, and the crew had a good time, and it was just a lot of fun. And we were waiting for the end of the race after all those flat tires, and it just didn't happen for us. But thought Jeff had it won, and he's had some awful bad luck this year. Benny got second. Congratulations to Rusty, though.
And congratulations to you. You're a credit to this sport. Let's go back to Ken Squire.
Let us update one other story here today. On lap number 8, there was a serious incident on pit road involving the Bill Elliott crew. 3 members of his crew were hit as the entire field came into pit. There had been a blown engine on the track, and everybody came in. It was an engine that had nothing to do with this incident, and it's just so tight in the pits. As you see, Mike Waltrip's car got spun around, Bobby Hillen, those that were injured, Chuck Hill, broken right arm, Butch Stevens, a broken leg. And the latest update from NASCAR is telling us that in critical condition, and his injuries are still undetermined. He's in the operating room here in Riverside, Steve Caldwell. That's the latest update we have on that story. The winner is Rusty Wallace. Benny Parsons finishes second, Kyle Petty third, Richard Petty fourth, Bobby Allison fifth. It's Darrell Waltrip sixth, Joe Ruttman in seventh, Terry Labonte eighth, Dave Marcus in ninth, Jeff Bodine is 10th, Alan Kowicki is in 11th, and Jim Robinson placed 12th. That's the story today here of the Winston Western 500, won by Rusty Wallace. For Dave Despain, Pat Patterson, Jerry Garrett, Bob Richards, Buddy Baker, Johnny Hayes, I'm Ken Squire at Riverside, California. We'll see you at the 24 Hours of Daytona.
The Western 500 has been brought to you by Purolator, the first name in filters. For pure oil now and pure oil later, it's Purolator. And by Dodge. For the ride of your life, it's gotta be a Dodge. And by the U.S. Armed Forces. It's a great place to start.